Hello there, it's Rank Carcass again. I got a video on bases, facilities, whatnot in the map here, and I just had to restart my video because I had to kick a cat off my table who was absolutely trashing my setup. Normally, when I'm playing a game, I don't let them on here, but these guys are really good at noticing that you're distracted and hopping on your table. So, purpose of this video is this game right here. Global War, 1936 to 1945. And the issue I had is I, like most of you, probably have, owned this pair of games. I had Pacific and Europe 1940. It doesn't matter if it's first or second edition. The number of bases and the unit count is basically the same. The only difference is you don't get any AA guns, and the map's a little different, but the map don't matter to me. Alright, so the problem I had with those games is these. I got the naval bases and air bases. There wasn't enough of both. And when it comes to factories, notice the majors had a 10 on them. Not accurate, should be a 5. And the minors have a 3, but in this game it should be a 1. So that caused some confusion as well. Not to mention I didn't have near enough of them. So that's the basic purpose of this video, is explaining how many factories you need, how many naval bases, shipyards, all that fun stuff. I did have the board all nicely set up, but this is take number 3 after I got trashed by a cat laying all my stuff. So I might do some adjusting as we go around. All right. So, number 1 here is we got this section of China, Japan, all that stuff, right? So, centered here on India, these guys can only make 1 unit per turn. So, unless they go into some technology, but that's irrelevant at this point in time, right? So, it's hard to defend Calcutta against a Japanese push, especially when they're using their fleet and transports and whatnot, with only 1 factory. So often this will get upgraded to say 2, maybe 3, maybe instead of just over here they'll put factories there, or who knows where. But that's one example. Another example here, you have Australia. There's they only have one factory as well. It's very difficult to load a transport up when you need 3 turns to build a transport and the 2 units it can carry. So Australia will typically build at least 1 extra factory. Let's see, what else do we have here? Another few places that it'll happen is down here in South Africa. They'll often build 1 or 2 extra factories. A couple of other places that factories are often built in these games are by the British, somewhere around here, or possibly even down here. And the Italians will often try to build some here. The French will typically build some factories here if possible, depending on how things go. Another spot, Gibraltar. And just I set this game up with 2 different setups here. I used both the historical board gaming units and the chips I'd shown in a previous video. So, naval base, air base. This naval base is right on the border of 2 sea zones. It's only 1 base, right? So in order to blockade it, you need 3 warships on both sides. A fort, coastal gun, factory, airbase, a bunch of naval bases, shipyard here in the light blue, right, and an air base beside it. And then just for contrast, in France here, you've got another air base here and a shipyard over there, right? These are the same, and these are the same. Don't matter. Pick your colors, whatever. Just throwing that on there so you have an example. Right, you'll notice that this is quite different from that. Right? This one's typically using the historical board gaming pieces. Factory-wise, I used the white from Classic. Oh yeah, they all got kicked around too. The white from Classic and the gray from the original Europe and Pacific as an example here for you. Along with my colored, or my stamped chips of 1s and 5s. Alright. Here is a prime example of what I was talking about with needing to have the right rules. This naval port or shipyard in New Orleans blew my mind when I was watching General Hand Grenade's video earlier in the week, and he was talking about a shipyard in New Orleans. I have, or had, an older variation of this game, or the setup sheets, version either 1.1 and 1.2 combined. Yeah, I just printed off the changes. I didn't do the whole thing, but they've updated the entire sheet now, and that update has added some new units for us. It's also changed the setup. Not so much taking stuff away as adding. This shipyard, who knew? It's now there. Another spot where something amazing happened, if you're looking to play this, is here in Jahol. I'm probably pronouncing that totally wrong, but whatever. This factory, and the last setup I was playing, she didn't exist. Now, there you go. You got a free Japanese factory. Makes life a lot easier. So yeah, 100%. If you're gonna play this game, make sure you got the new rules. I feel like such a... But yeah, you just you think you got it, and then you take a look, and what's that? Who knew? All right, let's show you this here. All right, so this was the last rules I was running off of. I believe this is the first version because I just changed the layout, but none of the information changed, right? Now, this is the most recent one, and quite a few things have changed. Here, let's just zoom these two in here. Now, you'll notice the wartime bonus income. Current sheet's 12, old sheet was 20. But at the same time, yeah, that's way too much glitter. There we don't go. Alright, there we go. Now you can see it. Income and production, that's also been changed here. They got 36 laid out in a nice, neat line all the way across. 39 as well. The actual income has been corrected to match that. Notice American Roundel, $2 sign, right? Guam, American Roundel, nothing. Well, if you add up everything on the map, it does add up to 63. So it was just a typo, I'm assuming, having the 56 and then the bonus at 20. So they just corrected this number here from 56 to 63. And so that they didn't have to redo all the economies for everything and kept it fair and as balanced as it was, they just changed this bonus from 20 to 12. So I believe the game will probably play basically the same. Alright, so that's that. And it's not the first generation of rules this game has either. So you'll probably all recognize this page. That's the current rules. Right? Current rules, black and white, doesn't matter. This is the original rules that came with the game. And for the most part, not too much changed in these. They were laid out like this, pretty much straight text. They had a bunch of charts and whatnot, but there wasn't a lot of artwork. There was the odd, I think there was like 1 or 2 pages that had artwork on it. And that's it, right? Well, now, if you look at the current version of the rules here, you'll see that there is artwork spaced out everywhere in here. It's graphically much nicer to read, but when they corrected the odd wording correction from the errata, they also revamped the appearance of the rule book. And this is what you get. Page after page of, well, I mean, the chart's important, but this stuff it's nice, but it doesn't really affect the actual rules of the game, right? So I'm just going to flip over to where I have some color pages. You'll notice, and if you do it in color here, they got this fancy graphic where they show the border of the map around the sheets here. See it on this page as well. There we go. Right? Lots of graphics here. One chart. There's probably about 2 lines of text. A whole pile of pictures, right? So, I mean, it's nice. It looks nice, but, you know, you don't really, I mean, I keep hearing people talking about how, oh, there's 77 pages of rules. Yeah, 77 pages of pictures too, though. So, it's not a graphic novel, but the last version of the rules had 63 pages. And then they did a couple of wording corrections, and I went from 63 to 77 with all the photos they added in there. So don't be too intimidated by this rule book. If you compare this to the global rule book, there's about the same amount of information on here. I mean, they even have from 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 pages in the back are just strategy and an appendix describing stuff that was already listed in the book here, right? So, and then for units, they got about 10, 15 pages of units, right? And it just goes into in-depth detail describing the units. Now, there have been a few changes. The primary one is the alignment conditions. Specifically, let's zoom that in here. Argentina. Sorry about this, folks. I'm stuck using the big tripod because the little tripod couldn't. So, it's currently waiting to see if the glue will hold, because Amazon's great if you want to get something for cheap. Just don't expect to use it that much. I think I did about 3 or 4 videos and it fell right apart on me. So there you go. Anyway, this is what I was looking for. There we go. We got the current version of the rules for Argentina and the previous version of the rules for Argentina. So I've been using this scissor, so I might as well keep using it. It works great for cutting magnetic tape and tin and whatnot, so I might as well use it to point at stuff anyway. Okay, so currently Argentina. This is in both. I'm just going to repeat what's in both versions and then just do the difference later. Germany can attempt to align Argentina once Germany is at war with at least one major power. Germany must pay $2 to the bank and roll a d12. On a 1 to 2, Argentina becomes axis aligned. Now that's the same in both. This is where it differs. In the current rules, which were released after an expansion to Argentina, so that might have something to do with this. Increase U.S. income by D12 if successful. Germany may only make one such attempt per game. Now this is all the different from how it used to be. In the past, increase U.S. income by result of D12 if not successful or unsuccessful. And there was no limit on how many times you could roll this. So we had a lot of fun with that. Let's grab a die here. This one will work. So you got your 12-sided dice. And the new way, oh, you rolled a 3, you're not successful, you're done. U.S. income goes up nothing because it was a failure. The old way, it's a 5. Germany's upset and America's jumping up and down because its income just went up by $5. So next turn, Germany does it again. And oh, this time it's an 8. Right? Now, Germany's jumping up and down because they're getting angry because they just threw away $4. And the American income has actually increased by 13 in 2 rolls. Do it a third time. Oh, look at that. We're successful. So now Germany spent $6 to increase the American income by 13. And all they did with that is they managed to successfully get $1, $2, $3. I think there's a plane, a fighter, and a couple of infantry. Or maybe 1 infantry and a couple of militia, a cruiser, and I believe it's a torpedo boat destroyer, but it could be a regular one. And that's it. That's all they got out of that. But, you know, you got that, you got to roll it 3 times. The Americans, the Germans are both right in there. And this is in a stage in the game where America's out, they're bored. They're trying to make more money, and you know, they're busy playing China and France, and they're getting absolutely beaten down by either the Germans or the Japanese, and they're looking for a win. Any kind of win will do for them. So there's that. So yeah, another reason. Get the most recent rules. Check Historical Board Gaming's website under the 36 page for download the rules and check to see that they got a recent version, because yeah, rule book 1.2 right now, setup charts 1.3. Good to know. Good to know. All right, so now I was going to talk about the bases and what you need. I could roll around the map all day, but you know, if you got this game, you got your own map. You don't need me wandering around showing you everything you already have. Okay, this is a bit chicken scratchy, but I was looking at every single sheet we got from the new version, and I did it because I was thinking about buying some 3D sculpts to replace this stuff and this stuff. And even if you're not doing that and you wanted to buy these, at least that way you'll know what you need. These ones are available at Historical Board Gaming. And your other option is this stuff here. I was showing you, you make your own stuff. It doesn't matter what material you're using, but you're going to need to know how many you need. So there you go. That's the purpose of this video as well. Alright, I've got it broken down by nation, but honestly, this is such a varied thing. It changes every game. Everybody who's doing well is taking over somebody else's factories, so they need more. Everybody who's doing poorly is losing factories, so they need less. So it all depends on how the game's going, who's playing well, what's going on. Here's an example. Is Germany trying to beat the crap out of the Russians? If so, they probably have this factory and maybe built 1 or 2 extras. Same with this one here. They probably built 1 or 2 extras just to shorten the supply lines. You know, you're building your short, slow-moving infantry and artillery up at the front here, and in the back along here, you're going to be building up your fast-moving aircraft and tanks and mechs, because they can move 2 to get here, right? So whatever's built here can go 1, 2, and meet up with the stuff that was built here. You know what I mean? So that's one example. But now if Russia's doing well and Germany's built these factories, now these factories need to be Russian, right? You might need 3 here and 3 here that are Russians. So, or maybe Germany decided not to put all their eggs in one basket, and they got a factory here and here and here and here, you know what I mean? Scattered all over the place. It all depends on who's playing and what their strategy is. And that's just one quick example. The second one for coastal guns, you got the possible Atlantic Wall from Denmark all the way down here to Bordeaux. Well, that is 2, 4, 6, 7 locations that you're going to need to build a coastal gun and a fort. You know, that's just one example. So, let's go into the nitty-gritty details of this. I will have these in the description, both the actual totals for 36/39 at 18 and 16 for the minor factories, 36/17, 39/20 for the majors. On this one here, the coastal gun is 8 and 9. The fort is 5 and 8. That includes both the Maginot line and the Mannerheim line in Finland and Lorraine. Airbase is 32 in both setups. Shipyards 20 in both setups. Naval bases, this is the one that really threw me for a loop, because I think I had 30 naval bases in the global game, and I needed 50 or 51 for the setups. That will throw you for a loop, because that's the biggest one. And of course I bought 50, so now I'm still 1 short anyway. That's why I'm doing this video, so that hopefully you don't have the same problem I had. Sub bases 1 and 1. So with all the different locations, like I already gave an example of there, my recommendation for the minor factories is 25 to 30 of them. You should be plenty good with that, but not, 10 or 20 extra. Major factories, you're not going to need too many, because you can only build them in the home country, so I'd say maybe 25 and you should be perfect. If not, at most 30. But 25, I would say you're probably sitting pretty good. Coastal guns, I recommend a minimum of 15 to 20. That should be right in the Goldilocks zone there. Gives you enough to either build the Atlantic Wall or 1 or 2 extra things in, say, Rome, or who knows where else. Maybe you want to beef up Calcutta or Gibraltar a little extra. Air bases, 32. There's a ton of them on the map. So unless you got some crazy version of Dark Skies somebody's going to try, where they're going to try to bomb all the way across the Pacific or the Atlantic at the Americans, or the other way around, that's about the only time you'd ever have to buy one or two more. So 35 should be good. I bought 50 and I got way too many. Shipyards, very rarely do you build any, but it's handy to have, say, 5 or less, so I would recommend 25. You never know, maybe the Russians want to build a shipyard in Vladivostok, right across from Japan there. And with these naval bases, I would say you need at least 51. If you go with 55, that gives you a cushion of 4. You should be good. And that's for everything, right? Neutrals, all the majors, all the minors, everything. Very few places do you actually need to build a shipyard. I'm sure, as you notice, there's little anchors, and there's blue anchors and there's blue cranes all over the map. Or you just use my blue chits here. Right, I got these little blue chiclets lying all over the place. And if not, there's anchors everywhere. Or there's the fancy crane shipyard. Even over here, actually especially over here, the Anzac's got 2 already to start. Where did this come from? There we go. There we go. There we go. Damn cats. Alright. So you got a bunch of naval bases all scattered throughout here, on the islands, everywhere. You don't really need to build any over there. Well, the only places I've seen anybody build naval bases has been in the Atlantic. I've seen the Americans either attack Iceland or Greenland before Germany takes Denmark, if possible, because otherwise these become British and this is a moot point. To put a naval base on, just to allow them to move from here to there. It's not very effective, but it's something I've seen tried. Another one I've seen is the Azores. The Americans have placed a naval base in there, but that's attacking Portugal, and that'll cost you $10 as the Allies. And guess what? If you're going to do that, you're going to be at war with this place here too. And you know what's here? A naval base, either one, take your pick. So there's a naval base already in existence here, right? So if you take this naval base, you save yourself the 3 turns to build the naval base in there. And it's going to cost you the same $10 to attack that or this, because you're attacking both of them. And the other one you're going to give to Germany, so why would you leave this free dollar and give the Germans a naval base and a buck in the Atlantic? That just doesn't make any sense to me. So, honestly, 55 naval bases, you're laughing. Sub bases, there's only 1 required in the game. And I've seen one time where we had somebody with this master plan to spam the world with subs. It was a unique plan. It went kind of well in one way, but it went horribly wrong in another one, as in the player ended up losing anyway, because he focused too much on one thing. And he built 3, so that took the total up to 4. So I'd say you'd be plenty good with just 5 sub bases. So I don't know if you care to see this again. It's pretty chicken scratchy, but there you go. My recommendations: 25 to 30 minor factories, 25 shipyards, 15 to 20 coastal guns, 15 to 20 forts, 35 air bases, 25 shipyards, 55 naval bases, 5 sub bases. And keep in mind, this is only the base game. I'm not sure if you need to buy additionals if you buy an expansion, or if they come with them. I don't have every single expansion, so I can't explain those. And that is a completely different monster, and I'm not going to get into that in the same video here, because they have a lot of expansions where you can beef up your game or change your game. It's historical board gaming for this game of theirs, and I'm sure when you look at it, it will tell you whether you need to buy an extra Navy base or if it comes included. Very excellent that way. There's not too many surprises when you buy something. Alright, so that's the conclusion of this. So basically, make sure you got the updated rules. Make sure you got the updated reference sheets. And make sure you got enough bases. And I don't care if you DIY them or if you buy them from the manufacturer of this game, if you buy them from Shapeways, whatever. Or at least this way you're not buying 50 when you don't need 50, like my air bases. I didn't really need to buy 15 extra, and I'm 5 short on my naval bases. Fun. So now I gotta buy stuff from them again. Anyway, that's the end of this. As I said, the description will have this chicken scratch in type so you can understand it. Thank you very much. Hopefully you find this helpful. If not, not much I can do about that.